Okay, fourth graders, hey, we're back today. Do a little more math. We're on lesson 13.4. That's on page 737. So get out your math workbooks, turn to page 737. This chapter is about finding unknown measures. In other words, they give you some information, but it's missing something. And you got to figure out what the missing dimension is. Now this is pretty simple. Don't let your brains go into a tizzy here. I'm going to show you how to do this. You just got to be thinking logically. I can't see. Hang on a second. I got so much crud on my glasses. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Tanisha is painting a mural that's in the shape of a rectangle. And the mural covers an area of 54 square feet. So we know what the area of this mural is. We know what the base of the mural is 9 feet. So we're missing a dimension. Here's the mural. And the base of it is 9 feet. We know that the area is 54 feet. And remember, area is in square units of measure. So we got to figure out what the missing dimension is. We know that its length equals 9 feet, but the height is unknown. And we got to figure out what it is. So how are we going to do that? It's really pretty simple. We know that the formula for area, remember that? Area equals length times height. We know what the length is. We don't know what the height is. And we know that this is a multiplication. So whenever you're trying to find the opposite, you use the inverse operation. So what you're going to do to figure this out is you're going to take the 54, you're going to divide it by 9. 9 goes into 54 6 times. So let's test this. If h then equals 6 feet, using our rule, the formula for finding area, length times width, 9 times 6 equals 54. See how easy that was? Just got to think logically. What operation do I need to perform? And what rule or what formula is actually in effect here? Now, it asks you to write an algebraic problem to solve this. So let's just say h, we'll call hn, it's going to equal 54 over 9, or 54 divided by 9. Pretty slick, huh? Yeah, I know. This is pretty easy stuff. I'll bet you got it already. Well, that one there, they gave us the area, and we had to determine the height. Let's see what other kind of problems they can throw at us. Let's turn to the next page. Oh, wait a minute. On 737, 1 and 2 down below there. Let's take a look at those. What if the mural were in the shape of a square with an area of 81 square feet? if it was in the shape of a square. Now, the only information they give us here is 81 square feet. But what do we know about a square? We know that all sides of the square are the same dimension. So what times what? And it's going to be the same number because the sides are all the same length. What times what will equal 81? Well, you can experiment and you can go 7 times 8. No, that 7 times 7 is 49. That don't work. 8 times 8 is 64. That don't work. 9 times 9 is 81. So you have figured out that this square is going to be 9 feet on each side. And all you were given was the area. But you know, to find area, it's length times height. And it's a square, so the sides have to be the same. So 9 times 9 is 81. That was way too easy. What else we got going on here? Number 2, explain how you can find an unknown side length of any square when given the area. Well, it's just that simple. You know the lengths are going to be the same size, so just start doing the multiplication. 1 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Until you get the right combination that matches the area that you were given. Now we can turn the page. What's on the next page? Kind of good stuff that we got at example 2. We got a dog and a pen. Gary is building an outdoor pen in the shape of a rectangle for his dog. All right, so we know that this pen is going to be in the shape of a rectangle. So there's our rectangle. What else do we know about this shape? He will use 24 meters of fencing. So he's saying that a fence around this is going to be 24 meters. Now, when something goes around the outside of a shape or an object, that's called the perimeter. Remember perimeter? And perimeter is the sum of all the sides. That means you add all 4 sides together. So we know that when you add all 4 sides of Gary's pen together here, it's got to equal 24 meters. It also tells you that the pen will be 3 meters wide. So we know that one dimension is 3 meters. So if that's 3 meters and it's a rectangle, this has to be 3 meters as well. They're the same. Together, the 3 plus 3 equals 6 meters. The total is 24. What do you think we have to do next to figure out what the other sides are? Well, you got to subtract that 6 that we already have accounted for from the 24. And that means 24 minus 6 equals 18. So we know that the sum of the other 2 sides is going to be 18. And what plus what equals 18, and they're the same dimension. Well, same dimension. 5 plus 5 is 10, 6 plus 6 is 12, 7 plus 7 is 14, 8 plus 8 is 16, 9 plus 9 is 18. So, Now we know that these dimensions are 9. Now, how can we check this? Well, again, the formula for perimeter is the sum of all 4 sides. 3 and 9 is 12, and 3 is 15, and 9 equals 24. And we were told that the fence is 24 feet in its perimeter. So you see, that was pretty easy too. Now, I don't want you to be sitting there thinking, well, it's easy for you because you're old and you've been doing this forever. You just gotta, turn on the old thinking cap there and look at the problem and say, well, what do I gotta do to solve this? Let's look on 739. Let's look at what they're going to ask you to do for practice here. Find the unknown measure, and the rectangle is 36 feet squared. So, you've got a rectangle. They show you the rectangle. They tell you the area is 36 feet squared. They also tell you that your height is 3 feet. So you're missing the length. Length equals, I don't know. But you know that the formula for area is length times height. So what times 3 will equal 36? Well, since it's length times height, we're going to reverse the operation and do division. So our length, they like to use the algebraic term n, will equal 36 divided by 3. And that'll give you the length. 36 divided by 3 is 12. So if we determine that our length is 12 feet, how do we check that to make sure we got the right answer? Well, the formula for finding area is length times height. 3 times 12 equals 36 square feet. So you know you got the right answer. So much of what this math is based on is your skills with multiplication, which is a big part of how you understand division. So if you don't know your multiplication very well, then this is going to seem like rocket science to you. And to you, I say, get the pencil out, get the paper out, get the flashcards, do whatever you got to do. You've got to know your multiplication tables through 12. Once you know them, this stuff starts to become real easy. Let's look at number 2. You've got a square there, or at least it looks like a square. I could be wrong. Number 2. Sometimes they make something look like a square just to throw you a curveball. It's telling you that this dimension is 12 centimeters. That's your length. Length is 12 centimeters. It's telling you that the perimeter equals 44 centimeters. That's the distance around perimeter. it's asking you to find the unknown value of its height. Well, we know that whether it's a square, a rectangle, whatever it is, that the opposite side is always going to be the same. So we know that that's 12 centimeters. So we know that if we add those two together, 12 plus 12, that'll equal 24. And that leaves us to figure out what the other two sides are going to be, because when you add them all together, they got to equal 44. So we've got 24 already. So we're going to subtract that from the 44, and that's going to leave us with 20. And you split that in half because they're the same dimension too. So 20 split in half would be 10 and 10. Now, how do you check that? Add them all together. 10 plus 12 is 22, plus 10 is 32, plus 12 is 44. Does that match the perimeter we were given? If it does, then you've got the right answer. Let's pick another problem. Now that one was giving you the perimeter. Number 3 is giving you the area. Number 4 is giving you the area. So they're either going to give you the area or the perimeter. So if it's the perimeter, you just got to find the difference. Cut that number in half, and that's your missing number. For area, you just got to remember length times height, or the given number divided by. So let's pick one of these where we've got area. And area, you know the ones that are area because it says square. Square inches, square meters, square feet. Let's do number 6. We've got a rectangle, and we're told that the one is 8 feet. We don't know what the length is, but we do know that it's 96, has an area of 96 square feet. So, how are we going to figure it out? We're going to divide. So, our algebraic sentence is going to be n. This equation, n will equal 96 divided by 8. So 8 goes into 96 12 times. So n will equal 12. So we now know that our length is 12 feet. How do we check it? Well, just do the multiplication. 8 times 12 equals 96. Therefore, we know we have the correct answer. So, these two methods of finding a missing value are pretty straightforward. It's not rocket science. If you know your multiplication tables, this becomes very easy. Let's look at number 8 because it's a word problem. And you know how much I love word problems. Here we have a square. And it's saying that that square has an area of 49 square inches. And because it's a square, you know that the sides are all the same dimension. So you just go through the numbers. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. So you know that your length is 7 and your height is 7. Because 7 times 7 is 49. See? That was really easy. Let's see what's on the next page. Ooh. Okay, now we gotta think smarter problem. So let's think smarter. An outdoor deck is 7 feet wide. So we've got a deck. It's outdoor deck. It's 7 feet wide. That's the length of the deck, 7 feet. The perimeter of the deck is 64. So we know the distance around this deck is 64 feet. We're working in feet here, so let's label things a little bit. So, what's the length of the deck? Use the numbers to write an equation and solve. And the problem says the number may be used more than once. So we know that the formula for perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So perimeter is going to equal we know that the opposite sides are going to be the same dimension. So the perimeter is going to equal, let's see how this follows, 2 times the length plus 2 times an unknown. What do you think that's going to be? Well, the 2 times the length, 2 times the length plus 2 times mystery number. So the 2 times the length is 7 times 2 plus 2 times the mystery number. So we're at 14, and we know that the perimeter is 64. So you can do 14, write it this way. N equals 64 minus 14 divided by 2. That'll give you the answer. You know that the perimeter is 64. You know that these 2 dimensions total 14. So 64 minus 14 leaves you with 50. So you know that 50 divided by 2 is going to equal 25. So these sides are going to be 25. You took the 50, divided it by 2. The balance between what you knew and what was given. And there you have it. And you can test it by adding them together. 25 and 25 is 50. Plus 7 is 57. Plus 7 is 64. So 64 square feet is checked, and that is correct. Don't let this confuse you. Just remember that when it's area and you're given one dimension, you just take that dimension plus its matching dimension, subtract it from that perimeter, and then split that number in two, and that gives you the other sides. Connect it to science. A male mountain lion has a rectangular territory with an area of 96 square miles. If this territory is 8 miles wide, what is the length? Well, 8 times what is 96? We already had that problem earlier. 8 times 12. 8 times 12 is 96. So his territory is going to be 8 miles wide and 9 miles high. It'll be 8 miles by 9 miles. And that gives you 96 square miles. So you've got some homework on 741 and 742. We're getting real close to the end of this, kids. Almost done. Find the unknown measure of a rectangle. That should be pretty straightforward for you for now. But let's go down to number 5 and take a look at that word problem. Susie is an organic vegetable grower. The perimeter of her rectangular vegetable garden is 72 yards. So we're given a lot of information there. We're told it's perimeter, and it's going to equal 72 yards. And we're told that the garden is in the shape of a rectangle. It says that the width of the vegetable garden is 9 yards. So its length is 9 yards wide. So we know that we've got 9 and 9. And again, it's just this simple. In order to find the missing dimensions, take your n equals 72 minus 9 plus 9, or you can say n equals 2 times the length, 9 plus 9, and we're going to minus from that 18 yards. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do it this way. I'm trying to find an easy way for you to write this formula. N is going to equal 72 minus 2 times the length divided by 2. So 72 minus 2 times the length, which is 18. So you got 72 minus 18. 8 from 12 is 4. Borrow 1 from 6 is 5. And then that divided by 2. And what's half of 54? It'd be 27. 27 and 27 is 54. So you know that this dimension is going to be 27. Now you can check it. 27 and 27 is 54. Plus 9 is 63. Plus 9 is 72. So don't get all caught up in the algebraic part of it. Just understand that the sides are going to be the same. If you know what the total is around it, subtract the 2 that you know from that number and divide it by 2. Sometimes modern math makes stuff more difficult to understand. It's a simple process to get the answer to that. Let's go on the last page of your homework here and see if there's something mind-boggling there. I'll do one of those. Number 2, Natalie used 112 inches of blue yarn. No, that's another perimeter one. Let's do number 1. The area of a rectangle photograph is 35 square inches. So we've got a photograph that's rectangular, and we know that it's 35 inches square. So now we're going to be working with area to find a missing dimension. If the width of the photograph is 5 inches, so its length is 5 inches wide, now we got to figure out what the missing dimension is. And when it's this kind of a problem, you simply take your 35, divide it by the 5, because that's the inverse operation of the multiplication that would get you to that number. So use the opposite operation. 5 goes into 35 7 times. So that's going to tell me that the length is 5 inches, the height is 7 inches. And how do I know if that's correct? Again, the formula for finding area is length times height. 5 times 7 is 35. We'll do one problem out of the spiral review just to see if you remember what we learned a couple days back now. Let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. All right, we'll try number 5. Hakeem's frog made 3 quick jumps. Okay, so the frog makes 3 quick jumps. The first one is 1 meter. That's a pretty good jumping frog. You know, a meter is about that long. That frog can really jump. The second jump was 85 centimeters. Why am I getting a feeling this is going to be a conversion problem? The third jump was 400 millimeters. What was the total length in centimeters? So they want you to convert everything to centimeters. So a meter is remembering that this is metric measurement and everything is based on base 10. So a meter is the biggest measurement. A millimeter is the smallest. And centimeter is in between. So if we got 85 centimeters, it's going to take centa means 100, milli means 1,000. So we're going to move our decimal point 2 places. So if we've got a meter here, which is equivalent to 100 centimeters, you see on your ruler here, you see the centimeters, and this is about 1 foot in length, and it's equivalent to about 30 centimeters. 100 means 2 zeros. So this would be 100. This is going to be 1,000. And what you do is you just look at the zeros. So in order to make meters into centimeters, we're going to take the decimal point. We're going to take 1, and we're going to move, there's 2 zeros. We're going to move that decimal point 2 places. So 1 meter becomes 100 centimeters. See, we're converting to centimeters now. So the bigger unit is going to have a bigger number because centimeters are smaller. There's more centimeters inside a meter. So the number has to be bigger. On the other hand, though, where we have 400 millimeters, we're going to be going in the opposite direction because a millimeter is smaller than a centimeter. So when you convert a smaller unit to a bigger unit, there's going to be less of them. So in this case, we're going to be taking our decimal point, which always appears at the end of a number, and we're going to move it 3 zeros 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So we end up with 0.4 or 0.4 millimeters, or centimeters. My bad. So that's how easy it is to do this conversion. You just got to remember that this is a meter. Are you with me? So this is your meter, this is your centimeter, and this is your millimeter. So in order to make those numbers make sense, you just got to remember, if you're going from a bigger to a smaller, there's going to be more of these. Matter of fact, there's 100 of these in this, and there is 1,000 of the millimeters in that meter. I just know that's got your brain all scrambled up. It's like thinking about if this is an inch, this is a foot, and this is a yard. Then you might be able to understand. You know that there's 36 inches in a yard, so there's a whole lot more inches. There are 3 feet in a yard. There's still more feet than there are yards. So you got to make sure that when you're going from a yard to feet, that your number is going to get bigger because the foot is a smaller unit. And if you're going from yard to inches, it's going to get bigger even still because there's a lot more inches in a yard. But if you're going from inches to feet, then feet are bigger, so that means your number is going to get smaller. When that light goes on in your head, then all of this conversion will become really simple for you. Wrestle with it. See if you can't wrap your brain around it. It's one of those things that's really hard to show you. That's our lesson for today. Tomorrow we're going to come back. We're going to be talking about finding area. Finding area. And we know that the formula for area is length times height. Nothing in that unit coming up should rattle anybody because we've been doing it all along. So when we start talking about area, we may have some odd shapes or something, but it's just a matter of breaking it into the rectangles or squares and finding the area and getting your answer. Okay, that's enough math for today. Good luck with your homework on that, and it's Friday. It's Friday. So that means we can finish our homework and relax over the weekend as you celebrate Ramadan. You all take care of yourselves out there. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble, especially now during Ramadan. And especially, again, be kind. This is the time to show your kindness. So have a good one. We'll see you on Monday. We'll finish up the book here next week, and then you can go, "Whew, finally, we're done."